Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the LA Life Podcast. My name is Zach Vogel. I'm the associate pastor here at LCC. I'm filling in for Brad this week. This week, I wanted to talk about nostalgia and how so many times we look back at these things, we remember these things from our childhood. And I'm specifically going to talk about some nostalgic things millennial might remember back in their childhood. I remember when I got my first phone. It was a flip phone, those early cell phones that you actually had to flip open. You had to text message people. When you text messaged people, you had to hit each button like multiple times. That was fun. I remember dial-up internet, which it feels like we have at the church right now. That was really slow. You remember that distinct dial tone. I remember AOL instant messaging, AIM, distinctive notifications and sounds for those. I'm sure many of you remember that. I remember like Saturday morning cartoons. I think of like Doug and Recess and Animaniacs. I think of Disney Channel originals like Lizzie McGuire, Even Stevens, Kim Possible, or Disney movies like The Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. Think of Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Monsters, Inc., and many others. And then there's also, I remember back to my early elementary days, thinking of the Game Boy Color and how cool that was. And people were, I was always jealous of those kids who had those things that I didn't have. We had Beanie Babies and Gigapets, right? And then I think of like style and how style is always changing. I remember we had really baggy pants, Jinko jeans. Remember like frosted tips were the hit back in the day. Just all kinds of different stuff like that. You think of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Anyway, lots of things that we can remember back to. And it's fun to be nostalgic and remember all of those things from our childhood way back when. We think about the world today and how things change so often. You think of fashion styles and how they were this at one point 30 years ago, and they've just rolled back around. You think of different housing styles and how, what used to be, I don't know, grays and whites and blacks, I don't know. And now it's, what I've heard is tan is the thing, earth tones, whatever. Things change. And even in our life, we go through seasons, and our life changes time and time again. And we make it to the mountaintops, and then we go through the valleys of life. We go through struggles and difficulties, and yet we serve a God who does not change. And Ephesians 2, starting in verse 19, it talks about this concept of God being a cornerstone. And it says, "So then you are no longer strangers and aliens, but you are fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God, built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Christ Jesus himself being the cornerstone, in whom the whole structure being joined together grows into a holy temple in the Lord. In him you are also being built together into a dwelling place of God by the Spirit." And so we think of a cornerstone and that concept of a cornerstone. If you don't know, a cornerstone is, it would be in building a building in a masonry foundation, where you're building with blocks and with rock. The cornerstone marks the first section of the building. It ensures it's on the corner, and it ensures the structure is built correctly and aligned properly. So when we think of God being our cornerstone, Jesus Christ being our cornerstone, we think of our life and how if we are to build a life as believers after Jesus and on mission for Jesus, we need to start with Jesus. And he is the one we are going to be building our life on. And if we choose to put him in the center of our life, if we choose to build our life on him, he will direct how our life is built. And our life will then start, instead of being this chaotic mess of a building, right? God will start to form and shape and build us into Christians, into people of his likeness. And so my encouragement for you today is that even though life sometimes feels crazy, chaotic, even when our world seems that way in an election year with everything going on that is going on, knowing that Christ is as believers, our firm foundation, who we can build our life on. I hope that it is a comfort to you, knowing that he will never change. He will never leave you. He is always with you. And because of that, we get to build our life on him. And if we do so, it's encouraging to know that he will walk with us through all of circumstances, through all of life seasons. So as you go on your week this week, maybe you be encouraged by that. Again, we'll be here Sunday, 9 o'clock, 10:30 services. Hope to see you there.